Today we're going to be talking about analyzing data in a graph. What we have here is an XY graph. An XY graph is made up of axes, or labeled number lines, that are perpendicular 90-degree angles to one another. In this case, we have X and Y axes, and we can plot different points in the XY plane. Note that the X-axis is the horizontal one, and the Y-axis is the vertical one. You can remember this because X comes before Y, and H comes before V in the alphabet, so they correspond alphabetically. So, how does that come in handy? Well, if we have a point, xy, we can find out where the point is located on a graph of the xy coordinate axes. Where to begin? Well, we always start at the beginning, right? And another word for beginning is origin, which is what we call the starting point, 0, 0. 0, 0 is where the axes intersect, or meet. Because xy equals 0, 0, x equals 0, and y equals 0. But staying at the origin won't help us much, will it? In order to move from the origin, first we must move left or right, then we must move up or down. Positive numbers for x and y always mean you move right and up, while negative numbers for x and y mean you move left and down. You can remember horizontal first, then vertical, because again, h comes before v in the alphabet. A good way to remember which direction you move in depending on the sign of the number is this. Think positively. You're right, so keep your chin up. Positive means right and up. Then the negatives are the opposite directions. Negative means down and left. The number of units we move up or down depends on what numbers we are given. We cannot just move randomly. Think of it like this. If we are starting at the origin, 0, 0, and we don't move, we are moving 0 units horizontally and 0 units vertically. However, what if we are given a point 1, 0? Can anyone tell me if we are moving, and if we are moving, where are we going? Lizzie.
We are moving one space to the right.
Good. However, be careful when using the word space. A better word to use is unit. Let's try another one. How many units and in what direction am I moving to get to the point 0, 1?
1 unit up.
Awesome. Now let's try a little bit of a harder one. Make sure you think about it first. Where do we move to get to the point -3, 4?
3 units to the left and 4 units up.
Awesome. As Yaya said, -3 means 3 units left, and +4 means 4 units up. Though there's more to learn about the XY coordinate axes, let's switch gears a little. There are different types of XY graphs. What we're looking at now is a line graph. This line graph has a title and 2 labeled axes. Can anyone tell me what the title is?
Daily temperature.
Good. It is important to title a graph so that the viewer can interpret what he or she is looking at. Now, who remembers which axis is horizontal and which axis is vertical?
X is horizontal and Y is vertical.
Exactly right. So now, who can tell me the label of the x-axis?
Days of the week.
Great. And the y-axis?
Temperature.
Perfect. Now, usually on a graph there will be a label, and then in parentheses there will be a unit. It is important to note here that this y-axis, label, temperature, has a unit. What unit is that?
Degrees Celsius.
Awesome. That is correct. Here, the x-axis does not have a unit in parentheses because it says days of the week. Therefore, it is assumed that the unit is days. The x and y axes in this case are days of the week and temperature, respectively. So a point on the graph should be able to tell us what the temperature was on a specific day of the week. But how do we interpret that? Let's start with this. Who remembers the way to read an XY graph? Good. Now, can anyone tell me what the first point on this graph is? Remember that we read from left to right.
The origin.
Good guess, but not quite. Here, the graph actually does not start at 0, 0. The origin is where we start from to see where the other points are, but it doesn't always mean that it is an actual point. 0, 0 in this case would mean that on the day 0, the temperature was 0 degrees Celsius. As you can see, there is no data point at the origin, so that is not relevant to our graph. Instead, this graph starts where there is data. Can you all please look at the graph and locate the first dot that is marked on the graph? I'll give you a couple seconds. Okay, who has it? Great, so who will tell me where the point is located, using only the labels and units of the graph?
Sunday, 25 degrees Celsius.
Awesome, you got it. Now we're going to try something different. Who can tell me what temperature it was on Thursday?
19 degrees Celsius.
Correct. Wow, you guys are experts. Last one. On what day was it 26 degrees Celsius?
Tuesday.
Right, good job. Now I'd like to call your attention to one last thing. Who noticed the numbers on the y-axis? Who can tell me where they start?
0 degrees.
Great, now who can tell me what the next temperature is?
18 degrees.
Exactly. So when reading a graph, be careful to look closely at the labels. Sometimes it does not go in order. In this case, it starts at 0 degrees, then jumps to 18, and then increases by 1 degree, each label going up. This is called a scale. Each unit up, it goes up 1 degree Celsius. Sometimes it can go up 1 unit and increase 2, 5, 10, or even bigger numbers. It all depends on what kind of information and measurements we are recording. Just make sure to be careful when reading numbers, what exactly you are looking at. The last thing I'd like to do today is share with you guys a song I made up. It has to do with XY coordinate planes. Do you all know the tune of the ABCs? Good, I'll sing it for you once, and then I would like us to sing it together. Here we go. Read the graph from left to right. Use your careful sense of sight. Start at the origin, move right or left. The sign of the X will tell you what's best. Then move up or down for Y. Use your units, give it a try. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Read the graph from left to right.
Use your careful sense of sight. Start at the origin, move right or left. The sign of the X will tell you what's best. Then move up or down for Y. Use your units, give it a try. Yay, good job guys. Let's go.